All right, so today we're going to be talking about kick drum compression. So how to get your kick drum really punchy or any other quality that you really want out of compression from your kick drum. With that said, let's jump straight to the content. Part of this series that I'm doing, I also created 2 different guides for you to help you out as you're moving forward in your journey of mixing systematically. So the first one is going to be an EQ guide, which gives you all of the basic understanding of where the areas of interest when you're EQing each and every single instrument. This is just a guideline, but it also gives you some tools that you can use to understand what's actually wrong with your instruments and your tracks as you're diving into EQing various instruments. And then the second guide is a guide on compression. This is basically a 101 guide on what compression is and how to use it effectively. It goes through the 4 styles of compression so that you can understand exactly what I'm talking about throughout this series. So make sure you pick up both of those guides. You can find the link right below this video, or you can go to mastering.dinosaurdogstudio.com. Today we're going to be focusing on our kick drum. We're going to be compressing it, and the question is, how do we actually want to compress our kick drum? Where we are so far is that we've compressed all of our buses inside of our mix, including our drum bus. However, there's certain elements of each bus that may need to have some additional compression. Specifically, we're looking at our drums right now because the drums are very varied in terms of what actually goes inside of the bus. So not only is our kick and our snare going in the bus, but also our cymbals and our toms and other various percussion elements. And so we may want to compress each of those elements slightly different because we have different goals in them within the mix. So we're looking at the kick drum today. The kick drum, what we want is it to be forward in the mix and very punchy. This song is very much kick drum driven, and so we want to make sure that that's obvious in the way that we're treating that in the mix. So let's listen to it and then decide what we actually want to do with our kick drum. To me, it's a little bit buried in the back of the mix, but I'm going to let you make your own decision. Okay, so it's definitely there. Volume-wise, I think it's at a pretty good place, but dynamically, I think it could be more punchy. So I want to bring it forward in the mix so it doesn't get so lost in some of those more dynamic parts during the chorus. So we're going to use some punchy type compression. I've already added a compressor here to our kick drum. And what we're going to be doing here is a longer attack so we can allow that transient to pass through and then squish down the tail just a little bit to emphasize the transient and make it more punchy. So I'm going to set up my compressor like I always do, high ratio, fast attack, fast release, and I'm going to adjust my threshold to nail down exactly where the transients are hitting, so then I know exactly what I'm doing with my compressor as I'm adjusting the attack and release. Mute everything except for the kick drum and dial in our threshold. Okay, so right there is the edge of where I'm either going to be going into the tail or just capturing the transient. So right now I'm just capturing the transient. In punchy type compression, I do want to squish down the tail, so I may actually end up adjusting the threshold below that, but that's a good starting point for knowing where exactly I'm at with the transient versus the tail. So let's start adjusting our attack. What we want our attack to do is to, again, let the transient pass through, but then squish down the tail. So I'm going to back it off so it's as long as possible, and then I'm going to bring it in right when I feel the kick is starting to be suffocated a little bit, then I'm going to back it off. That's really what I'm looking at. Okay, right around there is where I'm feeling like it's right on that edge of it's going to suffocate it if I really go too much further. And this may seem like a really fast attack to you, and it It really is, but the reason is because drums are so transitory. They have a very, very short transient. We will have a much faster attack than we normally would with, say, a vocal or a guitar. So that's pretty average in terms of how fast I would have it for a punchy type compression. It's allowing that transient to punch through, but really capturing the tail. Now let's just adjust our release. We want a longer release, but we still want the needle to come all the way back to 0 after every single hit. So let's dive into that. Okay, perfect. So it's just barely getting back to 0 before the next hit. And then we'll adjust our ratio. I'm gonna bring my ratio all the way back to 1:1, and then slowly bring it in until I get about the right amount of gain reduction. Probably between 3 and 6 is kind of what I'm aiming for. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, now it's time to gain stage this. I'm gonna wanna use average volume. So because I want the tails to remain consistent, but I wanna emphasize the transients, I'm gonna use an average or RMS level to gain stage this rather than the peak volume, because the peak volume is really measuring the transient volume, not the tail volume. So let's figure out where we're at without the compressor, and then we'll gain stage this. Okay, so it's right around 25 RMS. And we're around 26.5, so we need another decibel and a half or so of makeup gain. Yeah, that's perfect. Now we can actually A/B this and see what it's like before and after. So let's do that in solo, and then we'll do it in the context of the mix. So here's before. So I feel like it's a little extreme. I might actually mix that down a little bit, but let's see what it sounds like in the context of the mix first. Okay, so here's without. We will sing a new song, 'cause death is dead and gone with the winner. We will sing a new song, that hallelujah is flowing like a river, coming back to life, reaching towards the light. We will sing a new song. So it is pretty subtle in terms of the change overall that we're hearing, but I do like that change in the context of the mix. It does sound a little extreme to me just alone, and so I might mix it down just a little bit, but overall I really do like that change because it's bringing that kick forward in the mix and really bringing that groove back into the song with that compression. Next time we're going to be looking at how to compress our snare drum, so make sure you're looking out for that video. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe and ring the little bell to get notifications on the next videos. Thanks for watching and have a great week.